Oh, I want to thank all of you for being here, and it's a pleasure to be here. And it's not a strange thing for me to be in Baghdad talking about Milton, because I've always been at the firehouse down here at the rally and always enjoyed it. And every time they had that rally and every time I was up for election. I've been with the city, and my opponent makes it known, too long. I've been there 36 years. And he says I'm old and need to retire. And but I'm not going to do it right now. And I started out on the council. And most of you know the mayor the mayor I started with was Jim Pinky. Then he moved out of his seat, and Millard Adams became mayor. For about 6 months, ran for county commissioner and was a commissioner, and then Clyde Gracie took his place, and I served under that honorable man for 14 years as he served as our mayor, and he was one of the finest mayors this city's ever had. I learned a lot from him. I learned respect. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to run a meeting and be courteous to people, and to know where I came from. And when he decided to retire, everybody on the council, including me, didn't want him to retire, and we all looked at each other and said, okay. And I drew the short straw, because I really had no aspirations at that time to become mayor. But I ran, and I won 20 years ago. And I'm the longest serving mayor the city's ever had. But in those 20 years, I want to tell you something. We've transformed the city of Milton. From new city hall, Mary Golden sitting right here, and her mother sat on that council with me for many years, and I loved her to death. And brother, some nights she'd come in that council meeting and her hair'd be red as fire, and I'd say, something's up, you know. But I appointed her, Mrs. McDonald, Hilda McDonald, the chairman of the City Hall Construction Committee, and charged them with the duty of building a new City Hall. And they built a $2 million building that's beautiful and an asset to our city. From that point, we have gone through in the last 20 years and renewed every facility in the city of Milton, from our police station, a new community center, and there's not another community in Northwest Florida that's our size that has a community center like we have. To a new fire department, harbor landing, a new sewer treatment plant, you name it, it's been redone, and we're not in debt today for it. There's more to be done, you know, and Jim Melvin, where'd he go? I want to thank him for bringing up a topic. Tourist Development Council. Let me tell you something. You got more work to do, Jim, on that bunch. I got on my desk, I've got one reason. You know, I'm not running against one person. I'm running against many people. And one of the main people happens to be serving on the Tourist Development Council, and he's upset with me because I wanted change on the TDC. I wanted Mr. Mezik's opponent off of the TDC because there was collusion. Because a man that was on there serving with him, that was his buddy, brought to me in my office, to my desk, a copy of the minutes telling me that I had to appoint a certain person to a committee that Bagdad and Milton partnershiped in on the waterfront plan from here in Bagdad to Carpenter's Park. If they were going to give $30,000 to pay for it, he said, you have to appoint this person because it says this in the minutes. And then he handed me the tape. And I plugged in the tape, and the tape is completely different than what the minutes say. Somebody tampered with the written minutes. Now, is that what you want in government? So that man's very mad with me. He's financing my opponent. He's walking door to door with him. And he's doing everything he can to bring change to Milton and turn us in the opposite direction. So the TDC needs some more work. But I'll tell you something. Here's what I want to continue, why I'm running for another term and what I want to continue to do. Economic development. Bringing business, bringing industry into our city, into our county, is a major factor because we need the jobs. I have a son living in Asheville, North Carolina, because there's no jobs around here that he could have. Many of you experienced the same thing. Maybe a year and a half ago, the city manager and the economic director were talking, and the economic director told our city manager that he had 2 industrial prospects. Met him at his office. They drove through town, and as they drove through our town, the people said, no, this isn't our place. That's why you're seeing the beautification efforts in the medians. That's why we have an overlay district now along Dogwood, Stewart Street, and Highway 90 in downtown, is to improve our looks, because you got to look the part. You got to be prepared to bring those jobs in, and jobs are important. When I was growing up, we had Monsanto going full blast, Cyanamid, Air Products. You had NADEP over there in Pensacola, Main side. You had good, substantial jobs that people were able to raise their families, and the mothers stayed home and raised the kids and sent them to school, and they sent them on to college. With those type wages, we need to come back to that. We need to come back to that. And we've got to look the part. Ruth has some good ideas. Her ideas in doing those kind of things work together with the things that we all have to work together to do, because there's many facets to putting it all together so that we can bring those jobs in here. We need renewals in Milton, of our neighborhoods. Some of our neighborhoods have gone down. They're old. They're the places where people my age were raised, and naturally they have gone down. We need to renew those. We need to get the block grants to do it. We need to do it through the city. And then I went to a meeting not long ago. Rhonda, I think you were at that meeting. A lot of you probably at this meeting. And I saw a lot of things being listed on the board by people that they wanted these amenities in the city, and the city to do them. And I sat there and I thought to myself, you know, it's budget time, and every time we're putting together a budget, we're counting pennies. Because I don't want to raise taxes. There's no need to raise taxes. But if you start doing all these things that the opposition, and when I say opposition, I said I have more than one opponent, so I call it all opposition. If you start doing all these things, who's going to pay for it? And let me tell you something else. Downtown's great. Downtown Milton is great. When I started as a councilman, in 1980, I asked Millard Adams to appoint me to a committee over the downtown to do some redevelopment down there, and we built the Riverwalk. So I love downtown. But there's more to Milton than the downtown. There are neighborhoods. What people want in the morning is clean water to come out their tap. They want to be able to flush their toilets. They want to make sure that their garbage is picked up. They want to make sure that the police department will be there. And our fire department, our average response time is 4 minutes. To anywhere in the city. That is fantastic. And do you know, after the last census in 2010, out of 410 cities throughout this state, Milton was the 17th fastest growing city in the state of Florida, and what's wrong? Why change? They want change? I know why they want change. They have a hidden agenda they have set before us and picked on the council to help fund their private business. Michael, you were talking about how businesses are built and made. We're not there to give handouts to private business. Sure, we'll help private business. We'll make things good for them. We want to make it easy for them to achieve their goals. And one of the things I told staff many years ago, when a businessman walks in the front door of City Hall, you take them by the hand and you guide them through the regulations. You show them what we have to have. You help them achieve what they need. And if they need it on the county level, you go with them to the county and you make sure they're successful in setting up. But we can't do it for them. And it's not the taxpayer's responsibility to fund it. And that has made a few of them mad. Really mad. If you look at Facebook, I can't believe it. They're real mad, you know. But I don't, Facebook's Facebook, and that's a different world to me. But nevertheless, what's important to me is this. I love Milton. I love its people. I want to see it prosper. I'm proud of the record we have. And when I say we, do you pick up the paper every morning and see division about the Milton City Council? Look what you read about Pensacola. Their mayor and council are at odds. We work as a team. And if you work as a team, you save tax dollars and you get things done. And I'm going to tell you, Pat Lunsford, Brian Key are on the council today. We work as a team. If anything's been done, it's we who have done it. Our former and the late Hilda McDonald worked part of it as a team. She knew it, I knew it, and everybody that sits up there knows it. We don't always agree. Lord have mercy, we don't always agree. But we have a good structure. And when we come out and we make a vote, then we go forward. And that's why we built City Hall, a new police station, a fire station, a community center, harbor landing, and have done all the things that we have done in the last 20 years. And I guarantee you, right now, there's a movement starting with Main Street Milton. Yeah, I'm calling names. It's Main Street Milton. The same principles have been involved in it since its inception. That every opposition I've had in the last 3 elections have been mounted by that group trying to overthrow the control of the city. And it needs to stop. And you know what? Last election I ran was 8 years ago. Tom Scott was my opponent. When it was over, he came to me, he says, I did not realize what was going on. Today, he's one of my biggest supporters. Thank you.